Hi friends. This week I was reading about Mary Oliver. Mary Oliver was a poet and she paid attention to things around her. She grew up in an abusive home in a really hard situation, and so she would find herself escaping out into the woods in order to truly be safe, but also to feel safe. And she would pay attention to things out there in a way that I think so many of us miss. When she was a little bit older, on a summer day, she was at a birthday party for one of her friends, and she was sitting on the ground holding a piece of cake when a grasshopper came along. And she just sat there and noticed that grasshopper, the way it tasted some of the sugar from the icing on the cake, the way it cleaned its face off after. And she took some notes on it, things that she noticed, things she was paying attention to. And then later she wrote the poem, A Summer Day. And that's the poem that ends with, "Tell me, what do you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" So I'll put the poem in the comments here so that you can read that. But it made me think about the way that she would notice things, the way she would pay attention to things. And I don't know if coming from a different background, if she would have still done that. She would oftentimes think about what happens after our death. She would think about things with God, with spirituality, and write about them. Questions, things she knew, things she noticed. And while I'm not a huge person to read poetry, that's generally not what I'm going to pick up. I so appreciate the way that she would pay attention. And I think that's something that we can all do, to slow down, to look at nature, to look at people, to look at things around us and notice them and pay attention, to recognize the beauty, recognize the awe, recognize how amazing this world is and our God that created it, and just to sit with that in appreciation. So I challenge you this week to notice things. You only get one wild and precious life, so pay attention this week. And maybe you'll be inspired to write a poem. Have a good week, friends.